Okay, so you know that article you sent over
Yeah.
about the multiverse? Let's do a deep dive on this one because it's really fascinating.
Yeah, it really is. It's such a cool concept to think about.
The scientist is basically saying, hold on a second. Science is all about evidence.
Yeah.
It's not about belief.
Right.
You don't just have faith that gravity exists
Exactly.
or that, black holes are out there or that the sun's going to rise.
You can test those things. You can observe them.
Yeah.
That's what makes them scientific. It's not just some kind of blind faith.
It's not just like, oh, I believe.
Hey.
It's like, no, I've seen the evidence.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of the scientific method, right?
Right.
It's constantly questioning, testing, being open to the possibility that what you believe might be wrong.
Like, imagine if we still thought the Earth was flat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was a big one.
Huge.
And it was through that process of questioning and exploration that we discovered, wait a minute, this isn't quite right.
Okay, so now let's get into the multiverse itself.
Okay.
It's basically this idea that there might be, like, infinite universes out there.
Yeah.
Each with its own set of laws and possibilities. It's mind-boggling.
It's a bit much to wrap your head around.
And the article talks about this thing called the fine-tuning problem.
Yeah.
It's like, why does our universe seem so perfectly calibrated for life to exist?
Right, like it's almost too perfect.
Did you know that if the strong nuclear force was just a tiny bit weaker, atoms wouldn't hold together?
We wouldn't be here.
We wouldn't be here to even have this conversation.
Exactly.
So is that just some incredible cosmic luck?
Yeah, like did we win the cosmic lottery?
Or, is it a sign of something more, something else going on that we don't understand?
That's where the idea of the multiverse comes in, right?
Okay.
Because if there are infinite universes, then one with our specific set of conditions is bound to exist.
Yeah.
Statistically speaking, it has to happen somewhere.
Okay, but here's the thing. How do we test that?
That is the million-dollar question.
How do we observe something that's outside of our own universe?
Yeah, right. It's like, are we asking to take a leap of faith here?
Kind of feels that way, right?
It does a bit, yeah.
And that brings us to the crux of the article.
Okay.
Can a theory that can't be disproven be considered scientific?
Yeah, it's a tough one. The author talks about this concept of falsifiability. It's like a key ingredient in the scientific method, right?
Right.
A good scientific theory should be vulnerable. There should be a way to potentially prove it wrong.
Okay, so if we can't even imagine a way to test or disprove the multiverse theory, are we blurring the lines between science and, like, faith or belief?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question. It makes you think, is accepting the multiverse without concrete evidence any different from believing in, say, a higher power or a creator?
Right. It's like, where do you draw the line?
Exactly.
Okay, but then the article brings up another wrinkle: confirmation bias.
Oh, yeah, that sneaky little thing.
This tendency we all have to latch on to information that supports our existing beliefs. Even if it might not be the whole picture.
We're all guilty of it. You scroll through social media and you're like, yes, I agree with that.
Told it.
Even if it's not entirely accurate.
And it's not just us regular folks. Scientists can fall prey to this too.
Oh, absolutely. Especially when you have these big established figures in science championing an idea.
Right.
It's easy to get swept up in the excitement and overlook potential flaws in the theory.
So how do we stay aware of our own biases when we're dealing with these complex, potentially groundbreaking ideas?
It's a constant challenge, that's for sure.
This whole conversation makes you really think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Is the multiverse theory pushing the boundaries between science and faith? What do we even consider evidence?
And what constitutes belief in this weird, wild world where something as massive as the multiverse might actually be real?
I mean, it's like, what does it all mean? If we could somehow prove the multiverse exists, what would that say about us? About our place in, the grand scheme of things?
It's a mind-blowing concept, that's for sure.
Well, that's the thing about a deep dive like this.
What's that?
It leaves us with more questions than answers.
That's true. But they're good questions.
So keep exploring, keep those wheels turning.
Who knows what amazing discoveries await us?
In this universe, or maybe even beyond.
Maybe beyond.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
It was a pleasure.
We'll see you next time.